ask ourselves, what's more important, the seeker or the sought? And that's the question for today. So I say hello to you. My name is Douglas Grummins, and thanks for joining me again. Today is June 19th, and today we're going to be getting into some beautiful words by Osho again. And I'm feeling like Zen is in the air, so I'm sitting here with Cuckoo, the kitty cat, and she's purring so ever gently as I pet her, and she's so Zen-like. So today we're going to have a Zen talk. And I'm reading a book that I actually read a couple years ago. And I often do this sometimes. I'll read something that I haven't read in quite a while, and just to see where I changed and to see if my perspective has changed or grown. And sometimes in some areas it has, and I think that's beautiful that we always have a space and a room for more growth in our lives, no matter what's going on. I mean, have you not ever watched a movie and then watch it again just to see what you didn't pick up the first time when you saw the movie? But anyway, I'm gonna share some words out of Osho's book called "The Man Who Loves Seagulls: The Essential Life Lessons from the World's Greatest Wisdom's Traditions." And today we're talking about Zen, and Osho says on page 31 that seeking for something, desiring for something, is the basic disease of the mind. Not seeking, not desiring is the basic health of your being. It is very easy to go on changing the objects of desire, but that is not the way of transformation. You can desire money, you can desire power, or you can change the objects of your desire. You can start desiring God, but you remain the same because you go on desiring. The basic change is to be brought not to the objects of desire, but into your subjectivity. If desiring stops, and remember, I'm not saying that it has to be stopped. If desiring stops, then you are for the first time at home, peaceful, patient, blissful, and for the first time, life is available to you, and you are available to life. In fact, the very division between you and life disappears, and in this state of non-division is the state of God. People come to me from all over the world, Osho says. They travel from thousands of miles. And when they come to me and I ask, why have you come? Somebody says, I'm a seeker of God. Somebody says, I'm a seeker of the truth. And they are not aware that what they are asking. They are asking the impossible. God is not a thing. God is not an object. You cannot seek him. God is the whole. How can you seek the whole? You can dissolve in it, you can merge in it, but you cannot seek it. The seeking simply shows that you go on believing yourself separate from the whole. You the seeker, and the whole the sought. Sometimes you seek a woman, sometimes you seek a man. Sometimes, frustrated from the world, you start seeking the other world, but you are not yet frustrated with seeking itself. A seeker is in trouble. A seeker is confused. He has not understood the basic problem itself. It is not that you have to seek God, then everything will be solved. It's just the opposite. If everything is solved, suddenly there is God. The seeking is a disease. Don't make it an ego trip. Because when somebody comes and he says that he is a seeker after God, I can see the light of the ego that shows in his eyes. The condemnation of the world. That he is not a worldly man, he is a religious man. The way he says it shows his pride, that he is not an ordinary man, not part of the ordinary run of humanity. He is special, extraordinary. He is not seeking money, he is seeking meditation. He is not seeking anything material, he is seeking something spiritual. But to me and all those who have ever known, seeking is the world. There is no otherworldly seeking. Desiring is worldly. There is no otherworldly desiring. And in the very desiring, the world exists. What you desire is irrelevant. What you desire is enough to make you worldly, because all desires are from a basic fallacy. The fallacy is that you are missing something, that something is needed. In the very first place, you are not missing anything. Nothing is needed. The world is a nightmare because of desiring. and then nirvana becomes the last nightmare. Of course, the last, because if you wake up seeking God and nirvana, if you wake up, then all nightmares disappear. You have dropped the world, now you seek God. So please drop God also. This will look a little irreligious, but it is not. I was reading one statement from Albert Einstein that I loved. Somewhere he says, I am deeply religious unbeliever, or I am a deeply religious unbeliever. In fact, a religious person cannot be a believer. A religious person can trust, but cannot believe. Trust comes out of existential experience. Belief is just a mind trip. Belief is just the ideology of concepts, scriptures, philosophy, and trust is of life. The moment you say God, you have never used a belief. God is a belief, but life is not a belief. It is an experience, and let life be your only God. No other God is needed, because all other gods are human inventions. So Einstein is true when he says, I am a deeply religious person, but unbelieving, a non-believer. But what does he mean? The quality of being religious has nothing to do with the quality of a believer. A believer believes because he desires. A believer believes because he wants to seek something. A believer believes because he cannot live life without the mind. He brings the mind always in between life and himself, as if your hand is hiding behind a glove. You touch your beloved, but not directly. Your hand is hidden behind the glove. The glove touches the beloved. You touch your glove only. And a belief is like a glove. It surrounds you. You are never available to life directly, immediately. A religious person is naked in this sense. He has no clothes of his beliefs. He is simply direct and in touch with life. In that touch, the melting. In that touch, the merging. In that touch, somewhere you are no more. Somewhere you have become the whole, and the whole has become you. The ocean drops into the drop, and the drop becomes the ocean. Beliefs are dangerous, and we go on changing beliefs. A Hindu can become a Mohammedan. A Christian can become a Hindu. Or a religious person, a so-called religious person, can become a communist. A theist can become an atheist. It makes no difference. You go on changing the glove, but the glove remains. Can't you see life directly? Can't you love directly? Is there really any need to believe in anything? Can't you trust life? Let me say it in this way. People who cannot trust believe, but belief is a substitute, a false coin, a deception. People who can trust need no beliefs. Life is enough. They don't overimpose any God, any nirvana, any moksha on top of it. There is no need. Life is more than enough. They live life. Of course, if you have a belief, you can create a future around it. If you don't have any belief, then you don't have any future, because life is here now. There is no need to wait. But we go in postponing to the very moment of death comes and takes the gift back. So these are beautiful words from Osho, but it makes us think, to ourselves, what is to be done. I mean, if we don't seek God, if we don't seek in the first place, how will we ever find? But basically what Osho's saying, and he says it in this book too, that it's like the hand is seeking the body. It's already part of the body. The hand cannot seek the body, but the hand can come to know that it is part of the whole. That it's not something that can be known intellectually, but it can be felt. And to feel that you're part of the whole is what we call the essence of religion. To feel that part of the wholeness, and to feel that, and to know that you are a part of this whole. And coming to know that you are part of the whole can be approached through many different paths. But my favorite one to talk about is Zen, and I want to share a few more words out of Osho's book, The Man Who Loves Seagulls. On page 58, Osho shares with us, and he says, Zen is just Zen. There's nothing comparable to it. It is unique unique in the sense that it is the most ordinary and yet the most extraordinary phenomenon that has happened to human consciousness. It is the most ordinary because it does not believe in knowledge. It does not believe in mind. It is not a philosophy or nor a religion either. It is the acceptance of the ordinary existence with a total heart, with one's total being, not desiring some other world, super mundane or super mental. It has no interest in any esoteric nonsense, no interest in metaphysics at all. It does not hanker for the other shore. This shore is more than enough. Its acceptance of this shore is so tremendous that through that very acceptance, it transforms this shore. And this very shore becomes the other shore. Osho says, this very body, the Buddha, this very earth, the lotus paradise. How Zen that is. Hence it is ordinary. It does not want you to create a certain kind of spirituality, a certain kind of holiness. All that it asks is that you live your life with immediacy, spontaneity, and then the mundane becomes the sacred. The great miracle of Zen is in the transformation of the mundane into the sacred. And it is tremendously extraordinary because this way life has never been approached before. This way life has never been respected before. Zen goes on beyond Buddha and beyond Lao Tzu. It is a culmination, a transcendence of both of the Indian genius and of the Chinese genius. The Indian Jesus reached to its highest peak in Gautama the Buddha, and the Chinese genius reached its highest peak in Lao Tzu. And the meeting, the essence of Buddha's teaching and the essence of Lao Tzu's teaching merged into one stream so deeply that no separation is possible now. Even to make a distinction between what belongs to Buddha and what belongs to Lao Tzu is impossible. The merger has been so total. It is not only a synthesis, it is an integration. Out of this meeting, Zen was born. Zen is neither Buddhist nor Taoist, and yet both. To call Zen Buddhism is not right because it is far more. Buddha is not so earthly as Zen is. Lao Tzu is tremendously earthly, but Zen is not only earthly, its vision transforms the earth into heaven. And Lao Tzu is earthly. Buddha is unearthly. Zen is both. And in being both, it has become the most extraordinary phenomenon. The future of humanity will go closer and closer to the approach of Zen, because the meeting of the East and the West is possible only through something like Zen, which is earthly yet unearthly. The West is very earthly. The East is very unearthly. Who is going to become the bridge? Buddha cannot be the bridge. He is so essentially Eastern. The very flavor of the East, the very fragrance of the East, uncompromising. And Lao Tzu cannot be the bridge. He is too earthly. China has always been very earthly. And China is more part of the Western psyche than of the Eastern psyche. It is not an accident that China is for the first country in the East to become communist, to turn communist, to become materialist, to believe in a godless philosophy, to believe that man is only matter and nothing else. This is not just accidental. China has been earthly for almost 5,000 years. It is very Western. Hence Lao Tzu cannot become the bridge. He is more like Zorba the Greek, and Buddha is so unearthly that you cannot even catch hold of him. How can you become the bridge? When I look all around, Zen seems to be the only possibility, because in Zen, Buddha and Lao Tzu have become one. The meeting has already happened. The seed is there. The seed of that great bridge which can make East and West one. Zen is going to be the meeting point. It has a great future, a great past, and a great future. And the miracle is that Zen is neither interested in the past nor the future. Its total interest is in the present. Maybe that's why the miracle is possible, because the past and the future are bridged by the present. The present is not part of time. Have you ever thought about it? How long is the present? The past has a duration. The future has a duration. What is the duration of the present? How long does it last? Between the past and the future, you can measure the present. It is immeasurable. It is almost not. It is not time at all. It is the phenomenon of eternity into time. And Zen lives in the present. The whole teaching is how to be in the present, how to get out of the past, which is no more, and how not to get involved in the future, which is not yet, and just to be rooted, centered in that which is. The whole approach of Zen is intimacy, immediacy. But because of that, it can bridge the past and the future. It can bridge many things. It can bridge the past and the future, but it can bridge the East and the West, and it can bridge body and soul. It can bridge the unbridgeable worlds, this world and that, the mundane and the sacred. So these are beautiful words that Osho has shared with us. And basically what Osho's trying to say is that Zen says that this side, this shore of the river, is just as beautiful as the other side. The other side is immensely beautiful. And the other side could be heaven, it could be moksha, liberation, whatever you want to call it. But what Zen is saying is that you can reach the other shore by realizing that you're on this shore, and this shore is no different from the other shore. It makes this earth, this world that we live in, that seems to be so rotten and so corrupt and so horrible at times, but Zen now actually lets you see the beauty that exists in this horrible world that you might think it is. Because if you think about the shore scenario, the shore you're on, this world, all rivers really don't have two shores. There's really one shore with the appearance of two. And what Zen is saying is, enjoy this shore, dive into this shore, experience the beauty of this shore, and then the second shore will be given to you automatically. Crossing the river is very easily done when you go into meditation and dive into meditation and experience these things. And I also took it to another height. I brought meditation and Zen into some of my extreme sports, and like skydiving and surfing and snowboarding and all these things, and has enriched my life so much. I've really enjoyed the beauty, and I mean, before I snowboarded, I really never saw the beauty of the mountains. I mean, I could look at it and go, wow, that's majestic. But until you experience the speed of flying down a mountain and taking in all the beauty as you're doing it, is just so, it's so beautiful. And also the feeling of skydiving and being totally aware while you're doing it, opening up to all of existence and all of the reality of what's going on in your life at that moment as you're falling, between 120 to 190 miles an hour towards the earth. And then, having your parachute open so beautifully, and the joy of saying, oh my God, I'm going to live to skydive one more time. And, but the beauty of being 3,000 feet above the air and being held up by nothing but nylon and string, it's amazing. I mean, and technology is giving us these amazing gifts, and now it's our chance to bring Zen into these amazing gifts that God gives us, like surfing, skydiving, and snowboarding. But also, on the other hand, if these aren't your things, if you're not into adventure sports and adventure-driven motivational things, Zen is also as simple as washing dishes in the evening after dinner, and just immersing yourself into the washing of the dishes, immersing yourself so much that you forget time, that you step out of time, and you're just washing. You become the washer, and the dishes magically get done, and time seems to fly by so fast. It can be done by sweeping the floor or taking care of your garden. And it can even be done by staring into your child's face and seeing the beauty in that child's face, and the love that's radiating out of this child. These are Zen moments, moments spent outside of time, where time seems to stand still, and you still exist, amazed and in utter amazement of life and the beauty of life. And you realize that this shore, the shore you're on now, is nirvana. It is enlightenment. It is the essence of love itself. And it can all be known through this thing we call Zen. And Zen says that this shore, this world, is the other world. There's no difference. There's just water covering the other, between you and the other shore. This water that forms a river, but really there's not two shores to a river. There's only one, with the appearance of two. Anyway, I guess we'll wrap this one up. Thanks again for joining me. My name is Douglas Grummins, and I hope you'd enjoyed this podcast, and I look forward to coming back and making another one with you. Again, once more, meditate as often as you can. Forget about seeking, because you are what is to be sought. The realization of that will bring you home. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye then.